Tennessee was picked preseason number 9 in the SEC polls, and again, why this comes as no surprise heading into the 2025 season. That's okay if you're Josh Heupel. That and so much more to Monday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, everybody? Welcome into it, your Monday morning Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team here in town covering Tennessee athletics, football, basketball, baseball, recruiting, whatever you guys have over there at VolQuest.com. And, of course, right here at Locked On Vols every weekday morning when you wake up, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, can do the show without our friends over at Monarch Money, where you can take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, big shout out to our friends over at Monarch Money. Everydayers, your show is tomorrow. You can send me in some questions, comments, concerns at _Cainer at Locked On Vols, and you can comment on the YouTube channel for this show, and I will try to work in as many questions as I can for tomorrow's mailbag Locked On Vols. Today's show is going to be fun. We're going to go over Tennessee's predicted order of finish in the Southeastern Conference as voted on by the league's media, number 9. No surprise, but obviously some thoughts. We'll get into that here in segment number 1. And also 3 Tennessee Volunteers named to the all-preseason SEC team. About as expected, and 3 defenders. We'll get into that here in a moment. Neyland Stadium coming in as one of the 10 most intimidating stadiums in all of college football, and Tennessee basketball picked up another international commit. All that and more here on a Monday show. All right, so why this is no surprise? Well, again, we talk about it all summer long, and we talked about it all offseason, really since Nico Iamaleava left. And, it's you look at it from a national perspective. You look at it, you see your quarterback left your team on the last day of spring ball. Dylan Sampson, SEC Player of the Year, left Tennessee, obviously. James Pierce, first-round draft pick, left. Keenan Peely, who missed half the year anyway, he's gone. Like, you look at some of these stars that are no longer on the football team. Brew McCoy, Dante Thornton. These guys are no longer on the football team. So, in college sports, it's always revolving, right? I mean, even before the transfer portal era, you had 4 years, 5 years sometimes if you were lucky to hold on to somebody. And then you got to bring in somebody else. That is accelerated now, very much so, in the era of the transfer portal. But Tennessee lost a lot. Tennessee lost the starting quarterback on the last day of spring ball, and Tennessee really didn't add an awful lot to the roster from the transfer portal. So from the outside looking in, from a national perspective, it makes sense, right? And that's why we called it the day after Nico left. It's like, hey, an SEC Media Day is going into the season. The league's going to vote Tennessee like 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that in the SEC. And lo and behold, Tennessee was voted 9th in the SEC. This is not a big deal, okay? I'll get into that here in a moment. Preseason predictions are just that, is what it is. Kentucky was supposed to finish much higher than it did last year. Oklahoma was supposed to finish much higher than it did last year. South Carolina actually finished a lot higher than what it was predicted to. And, in 3 of the 4 seasons under Josh Heupel, Tennessee has exceeded the preseason expectation on where it was voted here in the following SEC Media Days. So, preseason predictions are just that. It really doesn't mean anything. I mean, it honestly doesn't. But it is something to talk about, something to kind of go on. And Tennessee was picked to finish 9th in the SEC. Texas picked to finish first to win the league. Georgia, number 2. Alabama, number 3. LSU, number 4. South Carolina, number 5. Florida, number 6. Ole Miss, number 7. Texas A&M, number 8. Tennessee, number 9. Oklahoma picked behind Tennessee, which is kind of surprising to me, at number 10. Auburn at 11, Missouri at number 12, Vanderbilt at 13, Arkansas at 14, Kentucky at 15, and Mississippi State coming in at number 16. One of my favorite things to do is to go look at all the teams that got votes to win the conference. And again, if you need any more evidence to show why some of this is just silly, here it is. 96 votes to win the conference for Texas. That's fair. 44 for Georgia. Okay, I get it. 29 for Alabama. All right, 20 for LSU. I'm with you there. 5 votes for South Carolina to win the conference. 3 votes for Oklahoma to win the conference. 2 votes for Vanderbilt to win the conference. 1 vote for Tennessee, Ole Miss, and wait for it, Auburn to win the conference. I mean, again, there are only, in my opinion, 1, 2, 3, 4, really 4 teams that should have gotten votes here in this conversation. Here in the preseason, things can change during the season, obviously, and that is Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. But the fact that, Tennessee got a vote, Auburn got a vote, Ole Miss got a vote, that's silly. Vanderbilt got 2 votes. Florida, again, I just don't quite understand why Florida was picked in front of Tennessee. They got 2 votes. Oklahoma got 3 votes, and South Carolina got 5 votes. It's just silly to me. Texas, I understand why Texas was picked to win the league. Georgia, obviously, I get that. Alabama, I think Alabama's going to be a solid team. I still don't think that it's on that upper echelon with Texas and Georgia. I don't. Got big-time questions at quarterback, just like Tennessee does, right? Solid on the offensive line. Big-time solid on the offensive line. It's always going to field a pretty good defense, even without Nick Saban. But Alabama's not on that tier with Texas and Georgia, in my opinion. I would have flipped Alabama and LSU. Again, not a Brian Kelly fan. I recognize that, and a lot of you everydayers know that. But I think LSU's got a really, really good team. 2 NFL linebackers, Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins. Still don't understand how to utilize Harold Perkins. Brings back a ton on the ground, brings back a ton through the air, and brings back, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference, which he was not voted first team All-SEC. I'll get to that here in a moment. So I would have flipped LSU and Alabama. South Carolina, too steep, in my opinion. Got a quarterback, got a really good edge rusher, so the pillars are there, and a lot of times that's what members of the media, specifically beat writers for one team, look at in other programs, and I'm not immune to that. I'm the same way sometimes. You got the coach, you got the quarterback, you got a pass rusher, you got a weapon, and then you're usually thought of pretty well. And that's, I guess, kind of why South Carolina is up there. Florida being ranked number 6, I don't quite understand that. You do bring back Jaden Ball in the backfield. Everybody loves DJ Lagway. Trey Wilson III is still out there at wide receiver. John Slaughter is probably one of the best centers in all of college football, or Jacob Slaughter, whatever his name is. Defensively, they bring back some as well, but I think roster-wise, it's a good roster. I think roster-wise, Tennessee's is better, honestly. Ole Miss, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know much about Ole Miss. I know you have a first-year starting quarterback in Austin Simmons. Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, which is a really, really talented quarterback. You have a good running game with Moss. I will give you that. Pretty good up front on the offensive line, but with Elko, again, just one sample size, but with Jimbo Fisher, could never get out of its own way. And then there's Tennessee. I'm surprised Oklahoma was not picked in front of Tennessee, to be honest. I would have had Tennessee in front of Florida for sure. I would have had Tennessee right around there with Ole Miss and Texas A&M, which is where it was, but I would have Florida behind that trio. Oklahoma, I would kind of have in that mix as well. Oklahoma, 2 really good backs in the transfer portal with John Mateer coming over at quarterback. They were injured all last year. Never really had a chance, in my opinion. I think Oklahoma is going to be much better this year. So there's that. And then all the teams behind Tennessee. Again, look how many of these teams Tennessee plays. Tennessee plays Oklahoma. Tennessee plays Vanderbilt. Tennessee plays Arkansas. Tennessee plays Kentucky. Tennessee plays Mississippi State. So Tennessee plays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the teams that are picked to finish behind Tennessee in the SEC this year. Schedule lines up. Again, we continue to talk about it this offseason. Favorable schedule, okay? Good run game, top 15 defense, protect the football. That's your recipe for the college football playoff, and that's what Tennessee did a season ago. Easier said than done. I recognize all that. So I don't understand why Florida is picked to finish ahead of Tennessee, but for the most part, I get it from the people who vote on this poll. Knowing what we saw from Tennessee and losing Nico the last day of spring practice and all that, I get it. I understand. I assumed this is kind of where Tennessee was going to be picked. I would not have been shocked if Tennessee was preseason picked 10th in the SEC. Of course, Tennessee was picked 9th. I would have Tennessee somewhere around 7th. Tennessee was preseason picked 7th last year, finished tied for 2nd. In 2023, Tennessee was picked 2nd in the SEC East and finished 3rd, I believe. In 2022 and 2021, respectively, Tennessee was picked behind in the SEC East and finished above those projections. So 3 of the 4 years under Josh Heupel, Tennessee has been picked. Tennessee has finished ahead of where they were preseason picked. I'm not going to go through all these all-conference teams. I think Lenore Sellers probably should have been 3rd team, okay, or maybe 2nd team behind Nussmeier. Sellers was your 1st team. I have no issues with Weiser and Moss. There's your 1st team running backs. Williams, wide receiver. 1st team is okay. I would have just flip-flopped Lenore Sellers and Garrett Nussmeier, who was second team. Jay Nott over at Oklahoma, and Durham, the running back from LSU. Those are your two running backs on the second team. Ryan Wingo, Oscar Delp. Third team quarterbacks, Arch Manning, again, has got to prove an awful lot. Nate Frazier's a veteran. Same as Jam Miller, running backs on the third team here. Maybe Deshaun Bishop should have gotten some run there, potentially. I think Miles Kitselman should have been the tight end here for Tennessee on the third team, but nonetheless, no preseason All-SEC selections for Tennessee on the offensive side. Now, where Tennessee does get some help there is on the defensive side. Jermod McCoy, first-team All-SEC defensive back. Boo Carter, third-team All-SEC defensive back. And Arion Carter, third-team linebacker All-SEC. So, preseason. So, how about that? I thought there was some room for some defensive linemen on here as well. But at the end of the day, maybe Miles Kitselman at tight end. Maybe Bryson Eason on the defensive line. But I think this is about what was expected. I knew McCoy would be out there. I knew Boo would be out there. Boo should have been his return specialist as well. He was not. And it was nice seeing Arion Carter be voted on preseason All-SEC. Again, like the voting here, at least on defense, 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 defensive backs. Guys, high schools across the country are playing at base 4-2-5 now. Okay? The game has changed. You do not have a base 3-down linebacker set anymore. You play 5 DBs. And here we are, preseason All-SEC, voting, and postseason as well on 3 linebackers. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Again, it's outdated. So, this was expected. Certainly, there's a lot of deserving guys on there, and Tennessee being picked 9th. I mean, I get it. I would have picked Tennessee maybe a peg or 2 higher, but at the end of the day, this was expected. End of the day, Josh Heupel doesn't care. Actually, probably likes this. You'll fuel for the motivation, right, for the upcoming season. So, nothing that transpired Friday afternoon when this came out was shocking to me whatsoever. But it's why you play the games, right? And Tennessee's been in this situation 3 out of the last 4 years under Josh Heupel and have exceeded those expectations every single one of those years. So looking forward to see what Tennessee has in store in this regard. Also, when you look at the career passing yards of expected starting quarterbacks in the SEC this year, just a little side note, Joey Aguilar, number 2, behind Taylon Green at Arkansas, who's thrown for 6,948 yards. Joey Aguilar, 6,760 yards. Diego Pavia is behind Aguilar with 6,716 yards. Then it's Blake Shapen. Then it's Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Lenore Sellers, Zach Calzada, Marcel Reed, Jackson Arnold, DJ Lagway, Arch Manning, Gunnar Stockton, Bo Perbula, Ty Simpson, and then Austin Simpson. They're bringing up the cellar. All right, when we come back, Tennessee basketball, second international signee of the class. We'll tell you all about the new Tennessee basketball player when we return right here on your Monday morning Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. I mean, we're all adults here. I've got so much money coming out of different accounts. I get paid through different venues as well. Mortgage coming out this account, 401k coming out this account, other retirement coming out of this account, this, that, and the other. With Monarch, it's all in one space, so I can truly see what I'm being charged for and how I'm getting paid, and I don't have to track everything down in different accounts. It helps me, and I think it can help you as well. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Check it all out today over at Monarch Money. Ethan Burg, that is what many have told me is the correct pronunciation for Tennessee's new basketball commit, an international signee from Israel, a guard, combo guard. It looks like it's spelled Ethan Burg on paper, but the way you pronounce it, Ethan Burg, again, is how those covering the Tennessee basketball team on an everyday basis, Grant Ramey, told me is how you pronounce it. So Tennessee has added a commitment, again, an international commitment, the second international commitment of the cycle for Rick Barnes. If you remember, Tennessee signed French guard Clarence Masamba earlier in the spring, and this one is Ethan Burg, again from Israel. Interesting pickup here. Tennessee was continuing to search for its last roster spot to fill that last roster spot of 13. There's been a lot of talk that it's going to expand to 15, but right now the roster is full with 13 scholarship guys. And Tennessee's been looking and exploring different options to fill that last spot, and now they have. Borg is a 22-year-old, okay, again, combo guard, spent the last 2 seasons playing professionally in Israel. He's been cleared by the NCAA, expected to have multiple years of eligibility remaining. Now, how many is that? Up to interpretation right now. We'll see. Not just one and done. It's going to be multiple. Now, for him, does he want to go back to playing professional basketball overseas? Does he want to move on? We'll see. But expected to have multiple years of eligibility. Now, the last 2 seasons playing professionally in Israel, he averaged 11 points, 2.9 assists, 2.7 rebounds, shooting 43.2% from the field and 32.9% from 3. Again, that was the last 2 years. Now, last year specifically, in his professional year in Israel, he averaged 23.2 minutes per game, 11.1 points, 3.4 assists, 2.7 rebounds. He shot 44.7% and 37.6% from the three-point line over 24 games. So you look at the 2-year average professionally, and that's the stat line. Last year specifically, his shooting percentage went up, his three-point shooting percentage went up, his rebounds were the same, his assists went up dramatically, and the points were about the same. So looks like he's playing his best basketball right now, at least his second year in professional basketball. And again, his name is Ethan Burg, and he is a 6'3" combo guard, again from Israel, who's played the last 2 seasons in Israel. And this is a very interesting class now. So if you just sit back here and you look at where Tennessee basketball is on paper now, okay? Tennessee has 13 scholarship players, 3 point guards. You've got Bishop Boswell, Jacoby Gillespie, Troy Henderson. I'll break this down, returner, signing class, transfer portal, all that and more here in a moment. Your guards, you have 4, Eitan Borg, the most recent commit, Clarence Masamba, Amari Evans, and Amari Abram. Your forwards, and remember there's some versatilities here, the 4 and the 5, there's 3, 4, 5, and you know how Rick Barnes does it with small ball and all that. But your forwards, you got 5, Jalen Carey, Nate Ament, Felix Akpara, Kate Phillips, and JP Estrella. And then you have 1 true 5, and there's a freshman in Dwayne Brown. So that's kind of the makeup of what Tennessee basketball is right now. You look at the transfer portal class, it's 3 with Jacoby Gillespie coming over from Maryland. Remember, he's from Greenville, Tennessee. Belmont to Maryland, now to Tennessee. Vanderbilt forward Jalen Carey, who I think is going to be an absolute stud. And then Amari Abram, who came over from Louisiana Tech. He's a guard. So that's the transfer portal class. That's 3. The signing class is 5-star forward Nate Ament, and of course he's the headliner, a consensus top 5 player in the class. You've got 4-star guard Amari Evans, 4-star center Dwayne Brown, and 3-star point guard Troy Henderson. You now have 2 international signees, Clarence Masamba, a guard from France, and then now you have Eitan Borg, a combo guard from Israel. And then you couple all those newcomers with only 4 returners, Felix Akpara, Kate Phillips, JP Estrella, and Bishop Boswell. Should be an interesting year as Tennessee's looking to replace the likes of Kai Ziegler, Jordan Gainey, Chaz Lanier, Jemai Mashak, Igor Milicic, and Darlington Stone Dubar. So again, it's basketball to me is the one that is affected the most by the transfer portal, just because the numbers are so small. Like football, of course, like you have a lot of guys ship out, you bring in a lot of guys, it makes a difference. Baseball, I mean, look at Tennessee last year. Liam Doyle, Andrew Fisher, Gavin Keelan, all those 3 were first-round draft picks. So certainly it helped Tennessee win a lot of ball games last year, 46 to be exact, and go on to the 5th straight super regional appearance. But basketball, just by the numbers, you have 13 scholarships. Tennessee lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seniors off that roster from last year, and you bring in 3 from the transfer portal, 3 from the signing class, 2 from the international class, and you're bringing back 4 players who are already on the roster. So, again, it's very much a different-looking Tennessee basketball team, but I think everybody is super pumped to watch Jacoby Gillespie get to work. I think everybody's really, really excited about seeing Jalen Carey. I know that he's carrying a chip on his shoulder. I know he very much doesn't like Vanderbilt. You're in the right spot because who likes Vanderbilt here in East Tennessee? I think Jalen Carey really gives you a true inside presence offensively because, Tennessee hasn't necessarily had a true offensive weapon inside, since Grant Williams, right? And so Jalen Carey, I'm not saying Jalen Carey is Grant Williams, back-to-back SEC Player of the Year. I'm not saying that. But he gives you that threat offensively down there in the blocks. And I think Tennessee's really missed that a lot. I mean, Jonas Adu was a second, or was he first team, second team? He was all SEC his last year at Tennessee. I mean, he was a good player, but it was a small sample size. Really excited to see Jalen Carey, what he can bring. I mean, everybody's super pumped about seeing Nate Ament. I mean, you talk about a potential lottery pick no matter what. Top 3-4 draft pick next year. Whew, that's going to be exciting. Felix Okpara had a lot of great moments this past season. Cade Phillips had some moments. Intrigued to see kind of what the next step in his evolution is. Very different type of player, especially in this era of college basketball. So what's he going to look like? And then JP Estrella, who, played some big moments against Purdue in the Elite Eight matchup. Not this past Elite Eight matchup, the spring of 2024. And then, of course, his foot. He was out all of last year, but coming back from injury. And then Dwayne Brown, who, bigger guy, true 5, big boy. He probably going to be redshirted this year, but still, I think this makeup of the team is going to be very, very interesting. But a lot of talk, a lot of questions, a lot of intrigue about how Tennessee was going to fill this last spot. Could it have been Zakai Ziegler? That turned out to not be the case as they withdrew their complaint, and he's going on to play Summer League basketball with the Detroit Pistons after going undrafted. Could it have been somebody else? Well, it is an international signee from Israel who played 2 years of professional basketball in Ethan Burg, coming over to complete the Tennessee roster for 2025 on into 2026. That's a little bit of information, not a whole lot, but a little bit of information. Again, the averaged 11 points, nearly 3 assists, nearly 3 rebounds, shooting 43% and 33% from 3 in 2 years. At the professional level in Israel. This last year, his best year yet, averaged 11.1 points, 3.4 assists, 2.7 rebounds, shot 44.7%, so nearly 45%, and nearly 38% from 3 in 24 games. So nice little addition here. Excited to see how he intertwines himself into the culture of Tennessee, into the roster, into the makeup, into the all that and more for Rick Barnes. So that'll be interesting. A lot of football talk, some baseball talk, but basketball season's going to be here before you know it. No ifs, ands, buts about it. So looking forward to seeing what this looks like here for Rick Barnes. All right, Tennessee, another one of those lists, right? Again, we're almost through July. We're almost to the start of fall practice. I promise you, that's going to get going next week. Next week is media day on, Tuesday or Wednesday? And then we have the first fall practice of fall camp. And, man, that's super exciting. That's next week, but we do have another list, this time the top 10 most intimidating stadiums to play in 2025. Where does Neyland Stadium rank? You know it's on the list. I'll tell you when we come back right here on Locked On Vols. CBS Sports put out a list of the top 10 most intimidating stadiums to play in for the 2025 season. All this, again, USA Today, we talked about this last week and ranking the top, stadiums in the SEC. There's been lists and other publications as well. All this has come from the EA Sports top 10 stadium rankings, and Neyland Stadium wasn't even on there, which is just an absolute disgrace for the video game. Like, what are we doing here? With everything, intertwined and, from the Vol Walk to running through the T at night, the spotlight running through the T's, spooky Rocky Top, in the month of October, just 2,000 screaming fans, or 101,455 or whatever it is now, screaming fans at the top of their lungs the entire time. I mean, Tennessee truly has one of the best home field advantages and home field environments in all of college football. And this story over at CBS Sports agrees with me. Coming in at number 2 on the top 10 most intimidating stadiums for the 2025 season is Tennessee's Neyland Stadium. Home games for 2025, East Tennessee State, Georgia, UAB, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico State, and Vanderbilt. Got to tell you, the home slate pretty underwhelming. Georgia's going to be a massive one, don't get me wrong. Oklahoma could be a big one. You better beat Vanderbilt at home. Arkansas is a tricky one. Obviously, Arkansas beat you last year on the road in Fayetteville, but the home slate is a little underwhelming, all things considered. But nonetheless, Tennessee comes in at number 2. This is what the article over at CBS Sports has to say. Quote, Tennessee set a college football noise record in 2022 near the end of the 52-49 win over Alabama with a level exceeding 125.4 decibels. Ooh. By comparison, get a load of this. By comparison, the jet engine of an F-22 Raptor hits 140 decibels from 80 feet away. Essentially, opposing players listening to what matches the sound of a deafening aircraft for 60 minutes when playing the Vols. That's quite the advantage for the home team. Now, is it that loud for all 60 minutes? No. But still, there are moments in there, especially at the end of Tennessee's, like in 2022 example, snapping that streak against Alabama, winning 52-49 on the 40-yard field goal from Chase McGrath. You know, that is one of those moments where it just spikes. 125.4 decibels. Goodness gracious. I'm going to read this one more time. By comparison, the jet engine of an F-22 Raptor hits 140 decibels from 80 feet away. Essentially, opposing players listen to what matches the sound of deafening aircraft for 60 minutes when playing the Volunteers. Man, I couldn't agree more. I think Neyland Stadium is, again, one of the best home field atmospheres in all of college football. It can turn in to some of the best home field advantage in all college football for sure. So I'm pleased with where Neyland Stadium ranks on this list. Number 1 is Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, LSU. It says Tiger Stadium provides pressure cooker feel before every kickoff against SEC competition, especially when the games are played at night, which happens often. You get Southern Super Bowl vibes before Alabama LSU, Florida LSU, and Baton Rouge because the games mean so much to a passionate and buzzed fan base. When LSU's band and students sing Neck, it's impossible to drown out. Florida was very high on the list for EA Sports and for, I believe it was Blake Topmeyer's USA Today. Where does Ben Hill Griffith Stadium come in on this list? Well, Penn State's Beaver Stadium is at number 3. Sanford Stadium is at number 4. Oregon Stadium is number 5. Williams-Brice Stadium is number 6. And then there's Ben Hill Griffith Stadium for Florida. I was surprised that Florida was this low on this list. I thought Florida would be up there kind of where Tennessee was. And certainly I thought Ben Hill Griffith Stadium was going to be, or Griffin Stadium, excuse me, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium was going to be ahead of Williams-Brice. And I'm not talking crap about Williams-Brice. I was there when South Carolina beat Tennessee in 2022. That place was it was a sandstorm, no pun intended. In fact, this is what they have to say about South Carolina. Quote, Sandstorm, 2001, cocky. Do yourself a favor and get to the South Carolina home game this season against Oklahoma, Alabama, or Clemson. The Gamecocks crowd will be fired up to try and spark a home victory over a ranked opponent, something they've accomplished 3 times during the Shane Beamer's tenure. This place becomes really scary when South Carolina gets an early lead. It feels like the student section in the end zone is about to claw its way onto the field. What do they have to say about Florida's Ben Hill Griffin Stadium? Quote, the Swamp has long held a reputation as one of college football's most hostile environments, especially when 90,000 fans create a deafening sound, a sea of blue and orange. Florida's home crowd played a pivotal role last November, helping a young Gators team to knock off a ranked Ole Miss and LSU in Gainesville with relentless energy and constant noise. It's an electric atmosphere on Saturdays in the fall, particularly when Florida hosts an in-state or SEC rival. Texas quarterback Arch Manning will have his hands full in September dealing with the noise, as will Joey Aguilar or Jake Merklinger or whoever Tennessee's quarterback is on November 22nd when Tennessee's going to try to win down in Gainesville, down in the Swamp, down at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for the first time since 2003. Others on this list, number 8 is Memorial Stadium in Clemson, Husky Stadium in Washington, Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn. In case you're wondering, Alabama Stadium is not on here whatsoever. And again, I think that's fair because I never thought Alabama's environment was that worth bragging over. Anything that's exceptional in my opinion. Sanford Stadium for Georgia is number 4, and I can attest I covered several games there, and it is just deafening. But Tennessee coming in at number 2, hard to argue. Some could make the argument that Tennessee's number 1, don't get me wrong, but in this type of conversation, biggest home field advantage, most hostile crowd, most electric, all that, like everything combined, like in most of these rankings, LSU is going to be at the top. I mean, LSU is simply at the top of, most all of these rankings typically. But nonetheless, I thought that was interesting. Tennessee coming in, Neyland Stadium coming in at number 2. And we've all witnessed that firsthand. No better place in college football than a rockin' Neyland Stadium. That is for sure. All right, that is going to do it here for this edition of Locked On Vols. Hey, tomorrow on the show, we'll answer some questions for the mailbag. So anything you have on Tennessee football with fall camp starting, Tennessee recruiting, just had a big old run in the month of July, the end of June. Tennessee baseball, transfer portal, that's winding down certainly. The roster kind of starting to become finalized a little bit. Any questions you guys have, please send me in any questions for tomorrow's mailbags at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys as always for making Locked On Vols a part of your morning routine. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, same time, same place. We'll do it again tomorrow. This is Locked On Vols.